I've been asked to speak also on your behalf about the Gregorian. What would you like me to say? And he said just one word in Italian, gratitudine, gratitude. He said, work with that, and I'm sure based on your own experience, you'll have something to say. Well, I'm very happy to take that word, gratitude, and to make it my own, so that I can properly thank you and express gratitude. I think I should start by telling you a little bit about what the Gregorian means to me. Well, the story for me began last millennium, in 1999. I arrived at the English college as a fifth-year seminarian and was promptly told on my arrival, you're studying at the Gregorian. In the eyes of the English college, which at its foundation was also run by the Jesuits, the only place to study in Rome is the Greg. There are other possibilities, but we don't talk about them. It's just the Greg. It's the only place that really matters. So I was packed off and inscribed to study fundamental theology. I was told this would help me to be, in church terms, in terms of a priest, a good GP, a general practitioner. And in the classes we explored, among many other ideas, the recently published encyclical by Pope John Paul II, Faith and Reason, Fides et Ratio. Faith and reason, the two lungs of our faith, of our understanding as church of who we are and how we engage in the world. And we were asked to reflect based on that in a systematic way about revelation, about tradition, about the historicity of the faith, the nature of the church, about culture, about enculturation, about our relations with other religions. Invited to think in new and original ways, drawing on the wealth of our tradition. Together with the many new colleagues and friends at the Gregorian, I found myself sitting at the feet of some very, very great professors. The names might not mean anything to you, but they were held in great reverence. Father Angel Anton, a Spanish Jesuit who was responsible in great part for the document Lumen Gentium, if that means anything to you, from the Second Vatican Council. Cardinal, he wasn't yet Cardinal, Luis Ladaria taught Trinity and Christology. American Father Jerry Collins, an authority on Revelation, taught me as well. I was privileged to have at the Gregorian the very best of the best as professors. And these great professors lived in community in rooms above the main body of the university. You might know where I'm talking about. A place of great simplicity and great dignity, fitting with the men who lived there. The English college students, with a bit of subterfuge, called that space the brain, the place above the building where people of superior intelligence lived and shared with us their gifts. Yes, I lived with English seminarians, but day by day studied with fellow students from all around the world. The truly international nature of the Greg, you saw some of it in the video we watched a moment ago, was made manifest not just in the lecture halls, but perhaps most clearly in the Greg Bar, the coffee shop which between lessons is packed with students from around the world, all trying to speak Italian as the lingua franca, some succeeding better than others, but students literally from every continent, a diversity of cultures and backgrounds, all united in belief and in a desire to understand better the faith that united them. I said at the beginning, I arrived in Rome in 1999, which of course was the eve of the great Jubilee year of 2000. I was acutely aware of just what a privilege it was to be in Rome, full stop, but to be in Rome particularly at that time. The material preparations for the Jubilee were very impressive. I have never seen Rome looking so clean and tidy and organized before or since, alas. But there were also very serious spiritual preparations for the millennium. In 1994, Pope John Paul II published an exhortation called Terzo Millennio Adveniente. And he laid out in that document the preparations that the Church was to make to celebrate its Saviour, 2,000 years after his birth. And we were encouraged as students to read that document and to be part of that spiritual and human preparation. Allow me to read a very brief extract from that document that resonated with me at that time and still does, and in many ways sums up not only my experience at the Greg, but also the immense sense of hope that there was at that time, and that there still is, if we can only open our eyes to see it. And I quote, "In the history of the Church, the old and the new are always closely interwoven. The new grows out of the old, and the old finds a fuller expression in the new. Thus it was for the Second Vatican Council and the activity of the popes connected with the Council. What these popes have accomplished during and since the Council in their magisterium, no less than in their pastoral activity, has certainly made a significant contribution to the preparation of that new springtime of Christian life, which will be revealed by the Great Jubilee if Christians are docile to the action of the Spirit. A new springtime of Christian life." Years after completing my studies, I was privileged to visit the community at the Gregorian in the Brain and share a meal with the priests who lived there. What I had always known to be the case was confirmed to me when I was there. The intelligence of those men meant nothing without the humility, the sacrifice, the hard work, and the singularity of purpose of these wonderful men who had literally given everything to teach the faith and weave the fabric of old and new, making the faith accessible and enthralling. Their docility to the Spirit and faithfulness to the example of St. Ignatius, the community of the Gregorian were, and still are, that new springtime of Christian life, a symbol of it present among us. At these times in the modern church and in the modern world, we may be forgiven for thinking it's not there. It seems hidden. But it is there. And thanks be to God, it is. And I give thanks to God for having been part of it. To you, Father Michael, thank you for your invaluable work as president of the Gregorian University Foundation, for your leadership and encouragement. You have been rather like the gardener, lavishing your tender care, nurturing that springtime growth in Rome, the growth that then goes on to blossom all over the world. As you move on to your new appointment in the East Province of the Jesuits, be assured not only of our thanks, my thanks, the thanks of all the alumnus or alumni of the university, be assured also that our prayers go with you, along with our warmest wishes. Thank you very much.